going, guys? Assalamualaikum. Welcome back to the FairDinkum podcast. Today's episode is a bit different. We had some brothers from Melbourne, local brothers, which we spoke about Gaza Endurance. So this is a platform there behind. There's three brothers as well, like three friends. They behind their project is working on projects that requires endurance and to be able to empathize for the people in Palestine and what's going on, and also to be able to donate at the same time and create opportunities and awareness for people to donate. So what Azeez, the brother that we got on, what he's done, he's run 1,000 kilometers, Melbourne to Sydney. Yes, you heard that right. 1,000 kilometers to raise awareness about Palestine, to challenge himself, of course, and alhamdulillah, he has donated as of now over 50k. Alhamdulillah. So it's amazing to see, truly inspiring. My 42 kilometer marathon is nothing compared to this. So it's truly inspiring to bring these brothers on and to see that anyone in the community can make a big impact. And yeah, this episode's full of stories. You guys are going to enjoy this one. So let's get into it.
It wasn't recovering, and I'm like, I should probably see a physio. And then I went and saw him, and he gave me some stuff. But when I told him, he goes, it's out of the question. You have this injury, you're only going to run now for 30 days straight. Like, this is not going to recover in time, and you're going to do, permanent damage to your ankle if you do that. We had the trip planned originally for October, and I said, okay, I'll make a deal with you. Let's push it back a month. What do you think then? And he goes, we'll see how we go this day.
This is why you don't go to a physio just before you run,
exactly, bro. Yeah. So just having him go like, maybe, I was like, okay, it's good now, Oh,
it actually feels better, yeah, right. All of a sudden.
FairDinkum.
So this is the new endurance challenge. Last to leave the podcast studio.
You watch MrBeast or something?
Back in the day, yeah.
Is it a shame if I still watch him?
Huh?
Is it a shame if I still watch him? I was smashing through his videos today, man.
You know what? The stuff that he builds sometimes is incredible. I don't know if you saw the Squid Game one.
Yeah,
that was insane, man.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah. The guy has an amazing team around him that, like, he's got some really cool guys.
The effort he puts in most of the money he makes, he puts it back in anyway.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. Yeah.
And then at that point, it's not even like his money either as well. Everything
exactly.
Is like, it's all investors from there on. Like the recent video he had with like Cristiano Ronaldo and stuff.
Yeah.
That's got to be the most awkwardest lineup in the world. You got MrBeast who makes videos for little kids.
Yeah.
And then after you got Cristiano Ronaldo who's been like a legend for...
Let's be honest, he was there for exposure. It's just like, I'm doing it with this guy because I need more views, more attention.
But who needs exposure, him or Cristiano?
That's a good question.
That's the real question.
I could have imagined that video is going to be awkward.
Which one, the Cristiano one?
Yeah.
No, it was.
He could have just done it to get even the younger ones, like the really young ones that like that type of challenge content.
Correct.
It's like, okay, Ronaldo's channel is actually cool.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to watch it.
Because Ronaldo's like slightly awkward in normal interviews anyway.
Yeah.
And then you pair that with this guy and it's, recipe.
Yeah, 100%. But also to the level that he got to now, I think that's the more remarkable bit because like this guy was just a YouTuber, which was like frowned upon, I guess, in a way. It's like, what a waste of a career, do you know what I mean? And then now he's making vids with, like, you name it in terms of like celebrities. So it goes to show. But in terms of like the endurance, the mentality side of things, I guess guys like that, you've got to be a complete like maniac,
Yeah, but grinding.
This episode's not about MrBeast, you know what I mean?
It can be. Let's do a MrBeast deep dive. 3 hours. We just watch all the videos.
But you guys got rid of our TV.
Oh no,
we could have watched it there.
Maybe we'll save it for next time, inshallah. Azeez, bro, welcome to the podcast. Alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Thanks for having me, man.
No worries at all, bro. Before we get into this big event that you've done, clearly it will say on the title from people watching this now, we want our guests, audience to actually get to know you a bit more, the person behind Gaza Endurance.
Okay.
We want to start off with your background because that plays a part as well in your events and starting this platform. So I would like to explain a bit about yourself, what brought your competitive side to you as well.
Yeah, for sure. In terms of background, like nationality, so my dad's Palestinian Jordanian. His family's been living in Jordan for the last few generations, but originally they're from Nablus in Palestine. My mum is Bosnian. She was born here, but her parents came in probably late 60s. And alhamdulillah, in terms of my childhood, I've grown up in Australia my whole life, except for 3 years where I lived overseas in United Arab Emirates in Sharjah, which is like 20 minutes from Dubai. We came back in 2014, and I've been living here ever since. Northern suburbs, Faulkner. Yeah. That's it. That's my background, I guess.
Okay. And where did this competitive edge begin? Because not many people would have a mind like yours, would like to pick your brain about that. Where do you think it's begun, if you've even reflected upon that?
Probably my brother, Muhammad Amin. I have two brothers, Junaid as well. But I think being the youngest of three, it's like you always, have the odds against you.
Yeah.
But definitely me and Muhammad would compete mostly when we would go like play footy or whatever. He was much bigger and stronger back then. Not anymore, obviously.
Time's passed. He's had his time.
No. So we'd have like really hard competition with each other, and he'd wipe the floor with me back then. But I think being around people that are better than you always drives you to be better, and that's not just for sport, with anything.
Yeah.
Once you're the best in the room, you're like, oh damn, maybe I have to move up a little bit now.
Change rooms.
Yeah. So, hey.
Okay, so is that got to do linked a bit to BJJ? Because I know you got a bit of a background with like MMA. Whether it's professional, it doesn't matter. It still plays a part in your journey.
I think initially, when you're that white belt in the gym who's getting smacked by everyone, and it takes maybe a year and a half sometimes till you get your first submission, and you're like, oh my god, and then you start moving up, and you always want to be rolling people that are beating you. Yeah. Obviously, you try stuff out with people less skilled than you. If you have a move that you want to drill with less pressure on it, but it's the same concept. You want to be rolling with people better than you, because that's the way you're going to improve. And you want to. If you're a blue, you want to fight the purples and the browns.
What got you into BJJ? Like why BJJ?
BJJ specifically,
because only recently is the whole MMA, the UFC, the whole scene like I guess in the spotlight. You said you played footy growing up, so there would have been a transition there. Yeah,
the one thing I love about BJJ is the mental aspect of it.
Yeah,
people call it like the martial art version of chess.
Yeah,
because it's like move, counter move.
Yeah,
game plan, this and that. It's a lot of that, and but also I think the culture with BJJ is really nice. I've been to a few different gyms since I started, and just the people are lovely. People are really lovely. You get some crazy people who it's like, man, you're going out of your way to hurt me. I know it, but like mostly people look after you. So I love that.
Gotcha. Have you competed before?
I've done a few comps. Nothing at like any crazy level, like local comps that the gyms, they invite other clubs to come and
This is out of G-Force, yeah?
G-Force, yeah. They're my club. Little shout out to G-Force and Jihad, Coach G.
Mr. G, yeah.
There you go. I think Sohail used to train at G-Force.
Yeah,
as well,
he's done his fair bit of BJJ as well.
Yeah. Does he still train?
I think
on and off.
Probably on and off. I train full time with them. That's how
no
I sort of know Ali as well, because Ali's come down to the gym.
You're at Sarman, yeah?
I am at Sarman's.
Rival gyms.
We are rival gyms.
We won't get into it here, but there is beef.
There is, yeah. I don't know if any of the beef. Maybe you can share it or nothing like that.
I can tell a few stories, but
that's probably off the podcast. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Let's not. Make
no, but I can attest to you, though, going back to the whole BJJ side of things, like the mental side of things, because we were actually just having a conversation. I think our last episode that actually came out, where we're linking, because Ali obviously completed recently in the Melbourne Marathon. He done his first ever marathon, and I'm going up for my first ever competition in BJJ next week.
Yeah, nice.
And we were comparing like the mental aspects of things, and going back to like BJJ, it's like one of those things where it's like every single night, it's like you versus you, even though you're going up against and competing against that white belt, that blue belt, sometimes you don't want to rock up, you don't want to train.
Yeah.
But did that sort of, I guess that mentality, because there's aspects of that from running this marathon, you doing BJJ, do they all align, would you say?
I think so. I think there's something to be said about any kind of I wouldn't even call myself an athlete, but anyone who's, training for something, or I think goals is important. If you're doing BJJ or running or whatever it is, don't just do it. Like, you can just do it casually and say, I do it casually, but still put like a goal there for yourself.
Correct.
If that's, I want to compete in, 4 months when this tournament's on, or I want to do the Melbourne Marathon at the end of the year. Yeah, have something that you're working towards. Otherwise, you're just kind of, lost in the day-to-day of it. Even though it's like your, hobby, you can still have goals for it, like as you would in a career or anything else.
So for you, it was more so of a hobby rather than no technically end goal in sight?
The BJJ?
BJJ, yeah.
I think initially, yeah.
Yeah.
But then I started doing comps, and like, you get smashed in the first one or two, and you're like, I probably could have prepared for that a little better.
Correct,
and then you're like, all right, maybe I'll take it a bit more seriously for the next one. And and then the weeks leading up to it, you're drilling with the coach, and you're like, I want to focus on this and guard and my stand-up game, and you start what do you call it? Focusing up, you tune in, and
Correct, readjusting your goals from there on.
That's it, exactly.
That's nice. What belt are you, by the way? If you don't mind asking?
I'm blue.
Yeah, nice.
I got a couple stripes on that as well, but
that's good, man. That's good.
Yeah. So you talking about goals. You said you started to set out goals, and you say it actually works for you in terms of the training in general. How did marathon running and BJJ link? Where did that even come from?
Oh, well, I guess the cardio crossover is one. Yeah. I know you use a completely different group of muscles in BJJ. It's very upper body,
hips, core.
Yeah, exactly. But, cardio is cardio. And so I got into running mainly at night. I love night running for some reason. Okay. It's just like, chuck on the headphones, go for a night run. Yeah. During COVID, actually. Yeah. And I think a lot of people got into running during COVID. They were all running away from the problems at home.
Yeah, definitely.
That's where it started. And then I started tracking it on Strava and, looking at pace and this and that. And then this was 2022. I did my first marathon in the Melbourne Marathon. What motivated me to do that, what inspired me, was the most random thing. Do you know that show Top Gear?
Yeah.
The British one?
Yeah. How does that link?
Yeah. Good question. Okay, it's so random. I was watching it, and they have the celebrity come on, and they drive a lap around the track. Yeah. They had Gordon Ramsay. Okay,
it's getting more weirder now. Okay?
Yeah. And he mentioned that he ran a marathon. Yeah. And for some reason, that triggered me. I'm like, Gordon Ramsay's out here running marathons now? And I'm like, all right, done. And I think on the spot, like, I just looked it up and I booked in the marathon.
Full, not even half, not even 10Ks, just went straight to it.
Just straight to the marathon.
And haven't trained technically for it before. Well, what's the longest you ran before you ran that 42?
Which one?
So before running the Melbourne Marathon, what's the longest you ran before that?
Oh, probably 12Ks.
Okay, wow.
Yeah. But that was like at the start of the year, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'll have time for it. And I, gradually started running more and pushing myself to longer distances. And I think I did my first half marathon in like maybe 2 hours and 20 minutes, something like that. Yeah. And so I'm like, oh wow, like, I can cover distance. I felt good about that. Unfortunately, I didn't progress more than that in training. I only did like half marathons. And then like leading up to the marathon, I was like, I'll be good. I should be right.
Well, you never set out to do more than half, or you just couldn't, like, mentally?
No, I was like, I have this marathon coming, but in training, I never did more than like a half marathon.
Oh, that's risky, just like, man.
I feel pretty good doing the 21. I should be right for the 42. It's the dumbest thing. Bro, it gets worse. This is probably the worst prepped marathon in history. And then after, obviously following your progress for yours and seeing how meticulous you were. And I saw you had your legs in some,
the wrap thing.
Oh, the wrap thing. What's it called? Boot. Like,
is this how people train for a marathon? Yeah, man, insult to the sport.
You did a dirty of that.
So in terms of your marathon running, like the training plan, firstly, you're training by yourself most of these nights, yeah?
Yeah, I wouldn't call it a plan, but
that's what I'm asking.
There was no plan, bro.
So then what do you work off? Just like, I'm just going to go run and keep improving the distance weekly?
I didn't even improve the distance. I was just running 20s, like maybe once every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're solely running on vibes, basically.
Yeah, literally, bro. And this is a pattern, and you'll see. So then I'm like, I have 2 weeks left. I should probably get a few more runs in. That week, I did, I think, another half marathon, and it was Saturday night, and I'm out with the boys. We're at our cousin's house, playing cards. Yeah, I think we had pizza. We had loads of soft drinks and stuff. And I'm like, boys, I got this marathon next week. Who wants to run with me? Who wants to come and train this, that? And they're like, yeah, maybe, da-da-da. You sure you're ready? I'm like, I got time. I got time still. I'll get a few more runs in and we'll be right. Anyway, I think we finished up at around maybe, 2 a.m. Yeah. I go home and I'm lying on the couch for some reason. Something was up with my bed, so I'm sleeping on the couch. And I just got a notification on my phone and it said, "Are you ready? Melbourne Marathon." And I'm like, I'm ready as I'll ever be. And I looked and I realized it was tomorrow morning.
Wow.
Oh my God.
So I had stuffed up
2
the
a.m.
dates. And I'm supposed to be running a marathon. What was the start time? Like 7,
yeah.
So 5 hours from now. And so the panic of that got my heart beating. I couldn't sleep for another half an hour maybe. I'm sleeping on the couch. Then I get up at whatever time, get in my car, drive to the station. The trains are cancelled. Drove to Rod Laver car park, parked the car, everything. It was the maddest rush ever as well. I almost missed the start time. Got my little tag stapled onto my T-shirt. And I lined up at the start line, right? And I'm doing my stretches like, this is the most baked, it's the most baked setup I've ever heard of, man. So I was on 4 hours sleep, pizza and soft drink, running on pizza and soft drink, bro. And yeah, it showed in the time.
Yeah. What was your time?
5 hours.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's nothing to be proud of, that's for sure.
But it's one just at least for your first to get out of the belt. You've done it.
That's it. But it was such a learning experience. Like the work you put in is gonna show.
So then, how did you feel past 21 Ks? Because it's unknown territory.
Exactly. So I'm like, something you said recently on another podcast is like, where's the next kilometer marker?
Oh, the sign, yeah.
It's like it becomes longer each K. Like they start spreading them out more. It's like what's going on here? But yeah, and it got to like, I think I was okay up to like 34, and then I'm like, I hit that wall, started walking for a bit, and then I'm like, here's what I'll do. I'll sit down for 3 minutes.
Sit down?
Yeah.
Oh, that is risky, bro.
Like I'll sit down for 3 minutes and then I'll get back up and keep running. That's all I need. I need 3 minutes recovery and I'll be good. Obviously, you sit down, everything locks up.
Yeah.
So I got back up again. I'm like, feel much worse now.
Yeah, definitely. Everything tightens, yeah?
Everything tightened, man. And so I'm like now running and my face is just grimaced. Alhamdulillah, we got there in the end, but like, that last 10, 15 Ks was, it was hell, yeah.
Did you ever plan to do a marathon after that? Or that was like your last?
No, I didn't run after that for like 6 months. I was like, I'm done with running.
Correct.
And then, it's something I came back to because it was, stress relieving and therapeutic, and you just, you go out for a run.
You know what's interesting though? A lot of people, if they got that text at 2 a.m., wouldn't actually go. They'll be like, oh, I didn't train for it. They'll think of excuses. I didn't get enough sleep. I didn't eat well.
Yeah.
What made you still rock up? Like, why?
One thing I realized I do is I probably shouldn't do this. I tell people before I do something, I'm going to do this. And then it's like a way of like, there's no backing out now. You've told this person, you've told that person. It's like, you're all in now.
Yeah, they're going to ask you how it is.
Yeah, exactly. And so I've thought about like, imagine I pulled out of this and everyone goes, how was your marathon, bro? And I go, yeah, actually I didn't do it. And it's like, oh, he's one of those guys. Of course you were doing a marathon and you didn't do it.
Didn't do it, yeah. High hopes.
Yeah, exactly. So it's, it's a way of making sure you actually do something. It's like, I don't know, I tell people that I'm doing this,
So you always knew you were going to finish it? No matter what.
No, I didn't know I was going to finish it, but I knew I was going to at least give it a crack.
Because like for you to only do 21 Ks in your training plan, I'll still call it that.
Yeah.
You only hit the wall at 34. That's insane. I think another 14 kilometers. So that shows like whether you acknowledge or not, your mental strength was pretty high, mental resilience.
Alhamdulillah. Yeah. I also like it when people go, oh, nah, man, what your training's been... I realize a lot of people, like, they're actually trying to help me, but they're like, man, you need to go harder on the training. Like, this is a marathon. And I just, like, I found it really funny that, like, I was just kind of shrugging it off. I'm like, I'll be right. And then, it got closer, and I'm like, I don't think I'll be right, but we're going to try anyway. And, see what happens.
Because marathon training is meant to be, I think, minimum 12 weeks to 16.
Yeah.
And I did 12 weeks.
Yeah.
And look, it wasn't as consistent because you're fighting the pain of having to increase distance every week, which is not easy in itself.
No.
And people were telling me, you're not doing enough. It's like, I think it's what's interesting, you were the polar opposite to me though. Because my training, I did a training block on purpose to build my confidence. But your confidence was from the get-go.
Yeah.
I had to build mine.
Not a good thing, but yeah.
But still, like, it's still something you can work with.
Yeah.
With challenges that you have ahead of you. So, you've done this marathon.
Yeah.
This was 2 years ago though, so it wasn't recent. Did this play a part in building this Gaza endurance?
Yeah, I think when you have a marathon under your belt, regardless of how bad the time is, it's like running. That's something I have. That's something I can do. Yeah. You put it, if you had like a mental sort of CV, runner, I can run. Mm-hmm. And it just, it's something in the back of your mind that you have as a skill. Mm. And that definitely played a part in the Gaza Endurance because the inspiration for this project was also like a complete accident. And what happened was we were driving back from Bathurst, which is pretty close to Sydney. Mm-hmm. I think it's like an hour out. And I'm putting the maps in to see how long it'll take to get home. And I don't know why, but the default thing went to walking instead of car.
Yeah, Google Maps.
Yeah,
standard.
And it was just like a split second thing, and I clicked away from it back to car. But in that moment, I was like, damn. Man, a run to Sydney would be hectic,
Yeah.
That's so random. No one thinks like that.
So it was so random. It was just in the moment, like, damn, that'd be a cool trip. And then I started calculating in my mind, over a month. Yeah, it could be possible. And that was it. Like, it was like a 5-minute thought experiment, and I put it away. And that was last year around November, so almost a year ago, or more than a year ago now. And subhanAllah, at that time, the situation in Gaza had just kicked off. About a month ago. So that was in the mind as well. And I feel like a lot of people at that time were wondering what they could contribute and sort of like looking for a way to get up and do something. And I was just a little bit in the same boat in terms of like, I asked Allah a lot to just show me what I should do, and I was really like, I really have a lot of energy and like passion to do something, but I feel like a lot of people, they don't know where to direct it sometimes.
Correct, yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people can relate with that. Like, you're like, man, if I just had something to work on, I'd put hours into that.
Correct,
you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then I came back to that run to Sydney idea, and I thought, maybe there's a way to incorporate that into some kind of aid program or raising funds or something like that. And so that's how it came about. And then I kind of just kept it to myself for a little bit and started thinking it through. And then I got some boys involved.
So you've had this idea for almost a year.
Yeah.
Was there a moment, or was there something that happened to take the action?
I think so. I think again it was telling people, and I think I told maybe one or two friends, I'm thinking of doing this thing and I'm going to do it. And then from there, I'm like, well, I've sort of spoken it into reality now. It's not just a thing that was existing in my mind. It's like, this thing's real now, and let's actually take some steps to make it happen. Yeah. And then I was just like finding people who were going to actually help me with it,
Actioning the whole idea and actually making it happen.
Exactly.
And also it hits home for you as well. It's not like it hits home for all Muslims regardless at the end of the day, but I guess with your Palestinian heritage, it's probably eating you up, thinking about what can I do to get involved as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. But I don't know, like Palestine particularly hits such a soft spot with people, like in the Muslim community.
Without a doubt.
And subhanAllah, like we've seen other genocides and stuff to Muslims, like in Bosnia, in China with the Uyghur people. But alhamdulillah, people get around it, and they're passionate about that as well. But Palestine, for some reason, has like a special place in our hearts.
It's also the mosque as well that's there in that land.
Plays a part.
Definitely does, yeah. So what's the main vision behind Gaza Endurance?
It was sort of reflecting their struggle through. Well, we're talking about this today as well. It's like you have to. It's strange that you have to do something extra on top of it. Do you know what I mean? Like people are willing to donate to a run that you do here because they see like you struggling or something like that.
Yeah,
it's
rather
like,
than just like a dinner, fundraising dinner.
Yeah, but it's like subhanallah, like what more struggle do you need to see than them? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but it's something about bringing it close to home, and that's someone we know running. Maybe I really don't know.
Yeah,
I think also it brings it closer to home because there will be people. I guess when it comes to like maybe Australia, Melbourne, Sydney, the community, they probably see you as Azeez and be like, oh, he's an everyday Australian just like us, you know? So it's easier to get behind something where someone from here is actually getting sort of involved.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good support cause. And also it goes back to, it's like, what can someone do to further influence what's happening over there so they can bring attention to there? And I think the Aussie Mammoth, I think when you bumped into him in Sydney, he said a very good thing when he was talking about how, like the whole idea of like initiative, you know, you realized, oh, okay, cool. What's one thing I can contribute to this? It's running. You know, not everyone has to be a shuyukh and not everyone has to be a big name that organize like a dinner and something like that to actually get people to sort of like fundraise. You know, I think that's the good thing behind it as well. It's like anyone could do what you did, you know, in a way, not probably the whole way to Sydney, you know, but like sort of the idea. Anyone can start up an idea, start up a program, but it's the fact that, you know, the difference is the fact that you actually done it, you know, and a lot of people are hesitant in terms of what can I do, you know?
That's it. Well, alhamdulillah, that's you hit it on the head right there. Was that anyone can do what we're doing, not the running part, but using what they have. I identified one thing that I can do, which is running. As you said, I don't have a lot of, you know, wealth to donate or, you know, knowledge or anything like that. But I'm like, you know, I can run, and I think a lot of people have such unique, you know, skill sets and stuff like that, and it just takes a bit of, you know, creativity and you know, like trust that the community will get behind you. Because that was one thing as well. We were like, man, is it going to kick off? You know, people even going to donate to this, And it's just like, you just got to trust it. That'll happen. Correct. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who's going to, you know, give people the want to donate, and it's not in your control.
Correct, yeah.
That's it.
Talk us through the moment where sort of that idea came up again. You're like, okay, cool, I'm going to run. To, I guess, the first day you're sitting with the boys telling them, hey, this is the action plan. Like the organization process.
Yeah.
Like how did this whole thing come into fruition? You know?
Well, first I mentioned it to Ali Hanifa, and I said, you know, this is what I'm thinking of doing. At the start, I didn't know I was going to have someone to come with me.
Yeah.
So up until then, in my mind, I was sort of trying to figure out how, you know, I carry stuff on my back, and I, you know, try camp and sleep and this, and it would have, I don't know if that even would have been possible. That would have been ridiculous. And so I told him, and he goes, you know, that's, you know, it's a great idea. And he'll probably correct me on the story here because I don't know if I'll tell it right. But I think it was a few days later that you called me and said, I can take the month off work.
Wow.
If you want someone to come with you. Is that? He said it in the moment. Okay, yeah. I think in the moment he said I might be able to take off work, and then he called me and confirmed. Like, so it just goes to show, man. Like, what a brother. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Someone who, when they hear you going somewhere, they don't even ask me because I'm there with you. You know.
Yeah, because you have the good intentions. You have for a good cause, and the sacrificing salary, sacrificing whatever else is left behind.
That's it. Yeah, and I know Ali has some stuff to say on this as well. What inspired him to jump in on the project? I don't know if you want to say now. Yeah,
come on.
The main man, Ali.
Yeah, so he came to me probably, I want to say it was June.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was around like June time, July maybe. And at the time I was like, yeah, let's do it. And at the same time, I don't know if you know Sheikh Salim. He was in the hospital at that time.
Okay, I'm not
Sheikh
sure.
Salim,
Yeah.
he's one of our shuyukh in Melbourne, in Dandenong, like the area. And he was in the hospital at the time, and he was like in his final stages of passing away. We were really close, me and him. We worked together. And he, like, in the hospital, it was actually crazy. In the hospital every day until he passed away. He was in the hospital maybe 2 weeks. Every day there was a huge gathering of people coming and reciting Quran and khatam every day. And people coming from like USA, people coming from Yemen, like just flying just to see him as he's passing away. And when you see that kind of legacy that someone's leaving behind, it like really makes you think, like, what am I leaving behind for people? And when Azeez comes with this idea, it's kind of like perfect timing where I'm thinking about this, and it's like this, it's really grand idea. And myself, I love like video editing and stuff like that, so that was like just a passion of mine. And it kind of all just came together, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. And alhamdulillah, I'm in the position where I was able to like kind of shift around my responsibilities, make it malleable. And yeah, so that was kind of the inspiration for me to take it off, was like seeing like Sheikh Salim and his life and how it kind of ended in that really grand way with people visiting him every day, had a huge janaza, alhamdulillah. And just seeing the legacy that someone leaves behind just by doing those actions like every day consistently, even when no one was looking. And that was kind of the inspiration behind my joining.
It brought that spark in you, basically, yeah.
And impacting other people's lives as well, sometimes even not knowing it.
Yeah, exactly.
So how'd the organisation then come to be from there? So now you guys are both talk to each other. You said you're on board. You said I'm running.
Yeah.
And what happens from there?
Christian again. My bad.
So at this point, you've spoken to Ali. Told him,
yeah.
hey, I'm running. What's your thoughts? He said, I'm on board. You know, talk us through like the planning process. And I think also this will be good for other people. Like, you know how that question always comes, like, what can I do? How can I make it be? Like, you guys are young guys, obviously, and you've started this initiative, you've executed it. So it will draw inspiration into, I guess, further endeavors they might have down the line.
Yep. I think what I said before about like having a project there, if you have something there, you know, you'll devote time to it instead of, you know, doing other stuff like, you know, meaningless stuff like watching Netflix and playing games and whatnot. So it was just like I was really grateful to have something to work on, you know.
Yeah.
You know, and anyway, so practically the first step I took was like mapping it out. I was like, all right, let's start from there. So we plotted the journey, you know, not direct. It goes along Gippsland and then up the coast, New South Wales coast, and I think it's just under 1,000 k's on the map. But I think when we did it, it was probably a bit more than that because we had to avoid the highway a little bit and, you know, go off road.
Wait, what's any reasoning for that?
For doing that way?
Avoiding, yeah.
As in not going direct?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. We liked the sound of 1,000 kilometers.
Yeah.
It does sound pretty good.
And secondly, that's the scenic route, you know.
Nice.
Everyone talks about how boring the drive is to Sydney, right? And so we're like, beautiful. We'll go through, you know, lovely farmland in Gippsland, and then they call it in Sydney the South Coast. Yeah. You know, it's beautiful. So we started chopping up distances and seeing what towns we could stop at and stuff like that. And then I decided to give Human Appeal a call. And I went on their Umrah trip 2 years ago. So, you know, I had like some contacts there and stuff. And I said, look, guys, I want to do this. I want to make it a fundraising thing. Firstly, I'd love to have you guys as the facilitators of you know, the funds that come in and stuff like that. You know, would you guys set up a website for us? Would you guys also cover our trip expenses? Alhamdulillah, they jumped on board straight away, like no hesitation. MashaAllah, like this is a trend with them, is like if someone has something that they bring and they're passionate about it and they believe in them, they'll jump on straight away.
Nice.
Which is good. It's good to know that there's someone in the community that just they're willing to support. So now I had them on board, and we started planning out other stuff like food, how we were going to do that, and how we were going to, you know, what else we needed in terms of medical supplies and running gear and all that. We just started coming up with the shopping list. And, you know, for a first time, alhamdulillah, it didn't go too well in terms of looking ahead and seeing what we needed and what we didn't need.
And where were you drawing inspiration from? Oh, it was just doing it as you go along?
In terms of like what we needed?
Yeah, in terms of like the logistics, in terms of supplies and all of that kind of stuff.
Chat GPT.
Oh man. No.
And I'd ask Chat GPT stuff like, oh, what do I need for for running? What do I need for what kind of things should we bring? What kind of diet should I have? But then I'm like, I should probably talk to someone who actually knows what they're talking about.
Yeah.
So we got in touch with my physio, who's also a dietitian.
Nice.
He gave us a run through of a few things.
And you told the physio exactly what run you're doing.
Yeah, that's an interesting story as well. I had an ankle injury, probably 2 months out from the trip, and it wasn't getting any better. And just the fact that I was playing soccer weekly probably didn't help.
Yeah, definitely not.
I have the ankle thing, but the boys are playing soccer, so it wasn't recovering, and I'm like, I should probably see a physio. And then I went and saw him, and he gave me some stuff. But when I told him, he goes, "There's, it's out of the question. You have this injury. You're going to run now for 30 days straight. Like, this is not going to recover in time, and you're going to do permanent damage to your ankle if you do that." We had the trip planned originally for October, and I said, "Okay, I'll make a deal with you. Let's push it back a month. What do you think then?" And he goes, "Oh, we'll see how we go this day."
This is why you don't go to a physio just before you run.
Exactly.
Bro.
Yeah. So just having him go like, "Oh, maybe," I was like, "Okay, it's good now."
Oh, it actually feels better. Yeah.
Right.
All of a sudden.
So I was like, "Okay, cool. I've got the tick of approval from the physio now."
Yeah.
So anyway, I started doing his weekly exercises that he gave me and stuff.
Oh, that's
and
good.
It wasn't getting any better.
Yeah.
But alhamdulillah.
But running it off would be better, yeah.
So what that meant was I couldn't do any running in preparation.
Yeah, oh,
So
true.
my training was out the window.
So did you have a plan this time, or do you want me to label that as a plan, or?
No, there was no plan again.
So what did you do?
Because I couldn't run. And we're trying to make videos as well, like
like to
promotional videos.
Yeah, exactly. Talk
like,
it up.
Wes, I can't run in the videos. I'm like, I'll just run for the video.
Yeah, correct.
So I was literally only running in the promotional videos.
Yeah.
So you ran for 30 seconds, record, walk.
That's it. And I'm like, oh my God, boys.
Yeah.
It worked.
Boys.
I believed you.
And the guys are like, I'm like calling people for meetings and stuff. Like, we got to get this organized and that organized. And Abdel-Rahman would keep saying, like, what about like you?
Yeah.
Like, are you gonna be good? I'm like, bro, that's the least of my worries, man. Let's
God.
get the jumpers made, please. Can we just finalize the logo?
All the excitement took over, yeah.
Exactly. And so that's how it went for a few weeks. And alhamdulillah, it got to a stage where I could walk on it fine and it wouldn't hurt at all. But I hadn't like been running on it regularly.
Not conditioned.
No, not at all. And I hadn't ran properly. I did a few 10Ks here and there, and it would like flare up. So I got running in wherever I could, and that was about it. And so we told Human Appeal we're pushing it back a month, and we did that. Gave a bit more extra time to prepare. Saw the physio again. He gave us a whole diet plan. He's like, I wish you guys the best of luck.
Yeah, correct.
And that was it. We were set. We were ready to go. We had jumpers being printed, and we were buying food for the trip and
Nice.
getting the freezer set up in the car and stuff. All these little things that had to be gotten in order. I don't know what else am I forgetting. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so before the trip, like, now we start telling people, oh, we're doing this run, and we've started posting the initial post, because his ankle is like still a bit cooked, and like it's not good. And I've got people calling me, telling me like, is he's gonna be okay? Like, you guys know what you're doing? And like, people are actually concerned. They're like,
I sent some messages. I'm like, bro, you should be training a bit more.
yeah. They're like, 10 kilometers is not enough. Like, this is crazy. Like, he's gonna, and then like, I remember like in my head I'm like, yeah, this is not enough training. But to people I'd be like, yeah, he'll be fine. Like, we'll take breaks and stuff like that. I'm like, the angel will carry his feet, like things like that. But in the lead up, people were super concerned. And like, obviously now that we've finished it and alhamdulillah, he's fine, we can look back and laugh at it.
Yeah,
but in the moment, you're really like, oh, is this like, are we going to end up finishing this?
Yeah.
And it was like a real thing where I didn't want to bring it up to him as like a mental thing where he's going to be like, oh, what if we don't finish it? I didn't want to put that idea in his
Doesn't
head.
need that.
Yeah, I don't want to give him, create any room for doubt. So I wouldn't say anything. People were like to me, you need to have a contingency plan. You need to agree with him when you're going to stop. And I didn't discuss any of that beforehand with him until we got on the trip. Because I really didn't want to create that doubt because I'm like, I know a lot of it is like mental.
Correct.
And so that was part of like the pre-process is like, there's so much doubt and like nervousness. Like even as someone just watching, it's like, wow, is he actually going to be able to do that? So
it's like, how is it going to happen?
Yeah.
How? But I guess your why was pretty strong in the sense that you knew what you were doing this for, you know. But hey, I'm so curious, and I have to ask this question. Yeah, sleep. So where you sleeping on the run?
We had like a combination of. The idea was to have a combination of camping, Airbnbs, hotels, and caravan parks.
Okay.
Like motels.
Yep.
But then like we realized halfway through that like the campsites were actually like terrible for.
Yeah, gotcha.
Like everything.
Terrible in what sense?
To explain it, I sort of have to take you to day one of the trip.
Go for it.
Where we finished running, and I'm like, all right, cool. Let's make dinner. And at this stage, we had all raw ingredients. So frozen meat, you know, spices and veggies and all that, and we had to cook it. Okay, so at the end of a day of running, you know, we've got these gas stoves out, and we're trying to, you know, make food, and our stoves are bugging out, and our gas is running low, and everything's taking so long, and we end up eating like we end up cooking in the dark, and then eating like and like there's actually a video on day one, and my face is just like I'm just over it. Yeah, and we're like, okay, this isn't sustainable. Like if we're gonna be cooking every day, it's gonna take so long. Like we need to now find out what we're gonna do. And alhamdulillah, at that time we had some people coming up. I think you know, the next day, and we said, look, I think frozen meals is probably the way to go.
Yeah, pre-prepared meals.
Because we're freezing our meat anyway. We may as well have brought fully cooked meals. So alhamdulillah, the next day we were staying with my family in Traralgon.
Yeah.
They had us at their
where's
house.
that?
In Gippsland, Traralgon, like near Morwell and Moe. So we're staying with them, and they gave us some food, and my dad came up and he dropped more food off, and that really like what do you call it? Fast paced that whole process. Sorry, and it was cool. Like it was just like 15-minute in the microwave heat up. But what that meant was we're like, let's axe camping. We sent the tent back with them, and we said, let's just do motels.
Yep, along the way.
So much easier. Yeah. We'll be able to recover on a bed. We'll be able to heat stuff up in the microwaves, you know, use a shower, bathroom, everything properly. I think from the start, we probably should have just, you know, called it on the whole camp.
But that's the thing, you don't know till you get there.
That's the thing I was talking about. It's like we had to, you know.
And recovery is probably the most important thing, you know, because you were running, I'm not wrong, a marathon every single day?
It was a bit less of that, yeah. Initially, we were like, let's build up a lead in case something happens. If we have an injury, we can have a rest day somewhere.
Yeah.
So at the start, I think we were averaging maybe like 38, 39 Ks a day.
Yeah.
And on our plan, it said 33 a day.
Yeah.
So obviously, we were trying to build up a big lead, and it was like, we'll have a rest day somewhere.
Yeah.
And then cut to day 6.
What happened?
I didn't warm up properly. I didn't do any stretches. I got out of the car and I was pumped, and I'm like, let's just go. And so I started running, and it was a lot of uphill, and I strained something in my hamstring.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Ali basically, he drives past in the car, and he parks and he waits for me.
Yeah.
And I'm like limping towards the car, and he's like, oh no, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And I came, I'm like, I'm cooked, man. Like this leg, this whole thing here feels so tender, so sore. And he's like, all right, let's just rest and see what happens. Rested 10 minutes, got up, it felt worse, as usual.
Yeah.
And we're like, all right, let's get the physio on the phone. We called our friend Muhammad, his physio, and he's like, all right, here's what I want you to do. You know, ice it. If you have ice, lie down, elevate it, this, that. He gave us a few things, and, you know, we did all of that, and we got back up, and I was like, look, I feel okay walking. It's
still
not as painful anymore. And I'm like, all right, we're just going to have to walk the rest of the day. And so we did that, and I tried running again towards the afternoon, and, you know, it flared up again. So I'm like, okay, running's out of the question. And, you know, we were sitting at the hotel that night, and we're like, what are we going to do? Do we just walk it off for a few days and see what happens? I don't know if walking we can get it done in a day. Like, we're going to be running from We're going to be walking from morning till night. It's going to take so much longer. Coincidentally, Muhammad Amin was coming up that night. He was driving up to run with me. Okay, and he got there and he's like, "We're like, we don't know what's going to happen. This is the situation. We have an injury. I don't even know. Like, I'm so sorry that you drove all this way, but I don't even know what we're going to do."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Listen, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to get up early. You guys are starting way too late. You're telling me you're starting at like 9:15. No, we're going to be out of the house at 7, on the road at 8, and we're going to do this. We're going to walk. You guys are having hour-long lunch break in the middle of the day. Every time you stop for water, you're stopping for 15 minutes. What are you guys doing?"
Yeah.
So he gave it to us, and he's like, basically, you
as
guys,
an older brother does.
yeah. It's like, you guys are
takes
mucking
his
around.
chance.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's like, "Okay, this is my schedule, and we're going to stick to it." He's like, "We're going to do 20 Ks before 1 o'clock. I go, "Impossible. There's no, sorry, 12, yeah. 20 Ks before 12. I'm like, "There's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way. We're going to be walking." He's like, "Nah, just watch. Get on the road, start walking, power walking, It's going like, it's becoming later in the day. And I'm like, "Oh my God, we actually might get 20 Ks done before 12.
Nice.
So that was actually a critical point in the trip, was him coming, because he showed us that if we stick to the schedule, if we are disciplined with the amount of breaks we're taking and the time, that like we can finish a lot earlier. And towards the end, it really showed, because alhamdulillah, I was able to run again after a few days of walking. We were finishing like just after 2 most days, which meant hours of recovery, which is the main thing, that like it's hours on road versus hours recovering.
Yeah.
And like we just shortened this, and obviously that was lengthened because of it.
Even just that mental break as well, you need it. Try to think about, take your mind off it, do other things before you recharge for the next day.
Anything other than running, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, him coming up was a big
Yeah.
thing.
So lesson learned, listen to your older brother, basically, yeah?
Look, I don't know if that's the lesson here,
I'm only saying that because I'm older brother, so that's fine.
Yeah.
So I want to know, how was your warming up in the mornings, pre-run? And
So
please be honest.
After that, it changed.
Okay.
Before that, it was non-existent. But
Oh my
after
God.
that, I'd do 5 minutes stretching, 1 kilometer walking, and then I'd start.
Okay, that's good enough, yeah.
That was my routine, and I stuck with that for the rest of the run.
Yeah.
Run 1 kilometer, and then I'd go into it. And but yeah, after that we really shortened the breaks, which helped as well, because it's that that sitting down time where you get all locked up. It's like I'm resting, but you're actually killing yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Finding
And what would Ali do? Ali would drive ahead a certain distance, or like, strategically. I want to know what you do.
Yeah. So
Because you have a very important role. You know what I mean?
yeah, I think on the first couple of days, what I tried doing was, while he's running, I would go to because you can look at them. I got really good at looking at maps on Google Maps, like checking the roads at the intersections. So I was like, all right, this is his path. I'm going to meet him at this intersection, catch footage, edit. What I would do is I would try edit while sitting in the car. So I'm like sitting, and then like I've got the laptop set up here, the keyboard there.
Not driving that. So
No. not driving at the same time. And then, but it was just really like, first couple of days, it was just really like logistically hard. Like just because I'm waiting for him to come by, and then I'll get distracted, and he's already run past me.
Yeah, it's
And then-
overwhelming.
Yeah, so
Gotcha.
I've missed the footage or whatever. So I was like, all right, I'm just leaving the editing for afterwards. And I would follow. What I would do is I'd drive ahead and then wait at an intersection, and he like, you can kind of tell when you watch the videos that I'm like waiting for him, and he'll either run in front of me or past me, and I'll just decide what kind of shot I want to get. And sometimes like I remember there was a day we were near a place called Bermagui, and it was like I was driving, and it was a really hot day, and we're like on this hill, we're driving, and I'm driving ahead just to like see what's ahead.
Yeah.
And this is really like pristine looking beach.
Yeah, nice.
But you can't see it because there's tree cover, so you can only see it once you cross the hill. So I just drive back. I'm like, you're gonna see like the most amazing view, and he's like running, and he's like, I wonder what this view is gonna be. But yeah, like so a lot of it was like scouting ahead, seeing like what looks nice, what kind of shots can I get.
Yeah.
And then like, and I figured out like later that like what kind of like he wants like an iced coffee or like a Gatorade.
Gotcha.
So just getting that in the morning,
Preparing it and all that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, you had many jobs, man, mashallah, on the one day.
yeah.
So then basically you create a schedule like the running and all that as well with your editing, record like footage as well.
Yeah.
How was it like even editing every single night towards the end after that long day of keeping track with him, recording as well? How was
I don't
that
know
trying to
if
think of brainstorming?
maybe you could relate to this. Like when you're doing something like for so long, like at the start you have like a lot of creative like ideas of like what you want, but then you start to get like it's hard to force yourself to be creative.
Yeah,
If that makes sense.
It is.
And so that's what I found was like what I would do in the first couple of days, especially, was like I'd ask him a question like, "What was the vibe you felt on the run today?" And then I would try to make sense to the video around that. Then afterwards, I kind of got the hang of it, so I kind of decided what I would want, and it really helped if he like spoke at the end or something, and I could use that to kind of frame the day or the video. But that creative process of like every day, you have to be creative, and you can actually, if you go back and watch every single video, you can tell the days where I mailed it in.
Yeah.
Where I was like, oh, I'm tired.
Yeah, gotcha.
There was maybe like 1 or 2 days where I was like, yeah, I didn't like put my best effort into that video, or whatever it was. But yeah, like, so I think that process of like, and in a way, like it was testing my mental endurance more than my physical endurance, because like the whole day you're busy with kind of following him, making sure he's all right, and like sometimes his phone would die, so I had this like location tracker on him. Did you delete that, by the way?
He's still tracking me.
I had this location tracker on him, so I would check where he was, and like sometimes because his battery was on like battery saving, so it wouldn't update regularly.
Yeah.
So I would have to go check, and it's like, and then it gets so like you're not in reception area, so you get worried, so you drive up. So it's like a lot of like you're always like busy with something.
You got to try be one step ahead if possible.
Yeah. And then you get back, and then you edit the video, and then finally a day's done. And so like the whole day, all I'm thinking about is, oh, I've got to edit the video.
Yeah, it's a long day.
So when's the day ending? If it starts at 8 o'clock?
Yeah, well,
I want to say we start at like,
Earlier Fajr?
depends on the day. Sometimes we slept in,
Okay.
but let's say we start like we sleep an hour after Fajr usually, and then that's the thing. You have to pack all your stuff from the car. Like if we stopped in a motel, you take your stuff out and put it into the motel, and then you have to put it back. So that's like half an hour of like just moving stuff anyway. And then getting out to the point where we finished running the previous day and dropping him off, and then he starts running. So I want to say that process is like an hour to an hour and a half, depending on where you stop. So yeah, we probably start around 8:15 every day, most days. And then he runs, probably finishes around 3. And usually like I'll drive ahead. I'll be listening to a podcast or something while I wait for him. And
What are you listening to?
Goggins.
I was listening to like a lot of NBA podcasts. I was just keeping up with the NBA.
say FairDinkum.
Yeah, that was
That's
the
your
right
chance,
answer.
bro.
That was the right
was the
answer.
right answer.
That was the right answer.
Yeah. Well, like, going back to the doubts bit earlier on, you said before the run had even begun, you tried and you didn't mention any of the doubts to Azeez or whatever. Was there points in the trip where you actually faced those doubts? So, like, other than that pivotal moment at day 6 or whatever, like, what would you say was like the biggest challenge of the thing?
Yeah. So before the run, like the day before the run started, one of my friends called me and he was like, he's also close with Azeez, and he's like, look, you need to have a conversation about like when is it okay to call it and say, now we're done, we're finishing. When are we actually gonna, like, if that happens, who's gonna make the call or whatever? So then on the first day with Azeez, I'm in the car with him, and I'm like, oh, we got to decide on this. And then he basically said to me, I'm just gonna be 100% honest with you. If I'm not feeling good, I'm gonna tell you I'm not feeling good. And he did that, to his credit. He was super honest with me, and I think that's what helped with the trip. It's like when he was feeling trash, I was like, yeah, I'm not feeling good. And when he could keep going, it was like, all right, let's keep going. And I think it's one of those, like, I'm not a professional like doctor or like any kind of medical professional, but it reminds me of like I watch a lot of basketball. So in the NBA, they have this concept with players like where they don't play all 82 games because they don't want to tire out. So I was kind of just drawing on a lot of like that kind of
What's the term called?
It's redlining. So there's load management, and what they say is when the player plays too many minutes, they're like, oh, you're redlining. So you're hitting the point where if you play more, you're going to get injured. So it was just kind of like, I was visually and like through conversation trying to assess what that was. Like, was he at the point where
he's redlining?
If he kept going, would he get injured? And it's like, it was some of it was a bit of pressure, where it's like, I'm like, should I stop him from going? But he was really good with like pacing himself and like walking when he needed to, and not pushing himself to run when he shouldn't have been running. And I think that really made it like I had to worry about it a lot less because I'm like, all right, he's going to take care of himself.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's technically having that trust of each other, of being able to do your roles at a sufficient level as well, and mutual understanding between each other.
Yeah.
Of like, saying when you're tired, saying when you can keep pushing or whatnot.
Yeah.
That's impressive. That's what kind of pushed you guys to keep going the whole month.
Yeah.
For 30 days. What about in terms of like nutrition? So food, did you take a lot of breaks? Was it on the go? Because I know with running myself, I would take things that on the go. I'm not too sure how it was with you.
Yeah.
What worked for you?
We had like aside from like meals, we had like our snack bag, usually bars, chocolates, dried fruits, all that kind of stuff. Towards the start, we were like, every break would be like a proper snack break. We bring everything out, we sit down, and we have a bit. Further in, it was just like I grab a muesli bar and keep going. And then we would have lunch most days, like a sandwich or something like a pie that was heated up or something like that. And then at night we'd have like our main meal. I'd say the only proper meal of the day.
Gotcha.
And you stack a plate at dinner time. And for the first few days we were like, I'd say eating pretty healthily.
Yeah.
And then when we got through Gippsland area, we made it to like where there was more shops again.
Yeah.
And then we like,
just eat anything?
We went crazy on the junk food and the drinks. The sugary beverages. Which
it's earned anyway.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was like, and the day Muhammad came up actually, he comes in and I'm lying on my bed and I've got like maybe 3 bottles of empty soft drink. Like, what are you doing, mate? It's like,
oh my God.
You're supposed to be running. What are you drinking? And I'm like, nah, I need this. I need my bev. And it wasn't 5. But yeah, we went towards the end. I'm like, you know what? I deserve this, brother. I deserve this.
Yeah.
I deserve.
But you are burning a lot during the day, so
it's not too bad. I mean. Like, I deserve it, right? And so at the end of the day, I'm like, I'm just gonna go hard at whatever.
I just need the system.
That's it. But what's funny is he was telling you about how he got good at reading maps. We had a rough route planned out. Abdel-Rahman planned out like what town we needed to be at, but in between that wasn't planned. So there's one road that goes all the way down the New South Wales coast, and there's one that goes across. It's the A1. It's a highway.
Yeah.
And it was okay to run on, but we wanted to avoid it as much as possible because where it got windy, the gap at the side of the road got really small, and it meant that running there was kind of dangerous. You have like big trucks, logging trucks, all kinds of stuff.
Especially when it starts to get to the end of the day.
Yeah, and when it's raining especially. We were like, we don't want to be on there when people are swerving and, So we would map out every day the best route to try and avoid the highway. And, he'd try to explain to me in detail at the start of the day where I'm going to run. He goes, you go here, you turn there, and I'm going to be waiting for you there, okay? And this will all be to get you off the highway. I'm like, yeah, cool, all right. And I start running, and then like half an hour later, I get a call. And it's like, where are you? And I'm like, I'm on the highway. I forgot. Just lock in and I forget everything he told me. So a bit of frustration there. But speaking of the highway, on the first day I was running, these road workers stopped me and they're like, what are you doing? Like I'm literally running on the highway, out in the middle of the country, right? Yeah. Guy runs past and he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm running to Sydney. Like, okay.
Casually, yeah?
So I'm running to Sydney. Like, what are you doing? Kind of. He's like, oh, okay. Yeah. Anyway, he asked a few questions and stuff. But then he's like, listen, man, if I were you, I'd run on the other side of the road. So not the left side with cars coming past you from the back. Yeah. Run on that side so you can at least see them coming at you.
That's what you're meant to do.
Yeah. He's like, if someone's towing a caravan that's wider than their car, they might think that they'll clear you, but then their caravan takes you out from behind. And then he gave me a full lecture on life. He's like, life is precious, it's fragile. I'm like, thanks, Dad. No. Anyway, so I crossed the road, and alhamdulillah, for the rest of the trip, I followed his advice, and we ran on that side. But yeah, he helped us out a bit there. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Talk to us mentally, like every day running. How did that feel? How did the body feel? What was it like? Was there moments you wanted to quit then and there? Did you guys nearly get to the point where you spoke to Ali and told him, hey, I'm pulling out? What was it like?
Yeah, I think around the injury time, I probably had a few days where it was just hard to move. I wouldn't say like giving up, but I was just like sitting in the car, like
Physically, you're done.
and I'm just like, man, how long we got left? It'd be like 9Ks. And I was just like, and then he's like, get out, come on, go, because I know he wants to relax as well, right? And I'm like, all right, I just wanna relax. It's like, no, get out of the car. I'm like, all right. So it's really good to have someone there, you know, pushing you. But yeah, in the morning, it's just like you find out what you can do to make stuff easier, right? So if I'm lying in bed, and I do this, you know, for work as well, because I get up pretty early for work. It's like if you're getting up and you're like, oh, I don't want to work today. Don't think of the work. Think of the coffee at the server that you're going to have.
Sure.
You know? So I'll be lying there. I'm like, oh, I get up. I get to have some cereal. I get to have a cup of coffee. You know? I watch some TV while we're getting ready. Yeah. You know? Like, so I think of like these nice little things, you know, along the way. And then I'm like, oh, I don't want to run. Oh, but, you know, you'll get to listen to this podcast that you like, you know, and, you know, have a little muesli bar. It's like a child, you know? Like, a child's like, I don't want to go out. And you're like, listen, you'll get to sit in the front seat. Don't you want that? And I'm like, okay. You know? So it's like I have to kind of like, you know, bribe myself a little bit here and there with little treats is the way I describe it.
It seems like it kind of puts you in the perspective of being grateful as well.
Yeah.
Little things like the coffee in the morning, even though it's a daily thing for most of us, but actually thinking about it and enjoying it in the moment.
Definitely.
It's quite interesting.
Definitely. And I think the whole, from a reflective point of view, was like, technically, if I wanted to stop, I could. Like, I can call this at any time. You know, it might be a bit embarrassing, but my life doesn't depend on me getting up every day and pushing. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And in that moment being like, oh, there are little kids doing this, fearing for their lives as well, you know, and they if they stop, they die, you know, like they can't just say, oh, I've had enough of this now, I'm good, I want to go home, Marty, drive me back to Faulkner, you know. So that was something that was on the mind constantly.
And isn't it interesting with running how there's like levels of pain to deal with and kind of tolerate? Because like you've done with in the past 10Ks, 20Ks, and I've kind of done that as well with my training. And then there's another level of doing the marathon, a different level of pain of, you know, having that tolerance, let alone your level was like, I can't fathom. And then that's where it puts things into perspective. And you can imagine about other people around the world, especially in Palestine, the level of pain they're dealing with and having to deal with in the moment. And that's like running can actually really put you in that perspective.
100%. And that's just physical pain, yeah? But then at the back of their mind, they've also lost, you know, 2 parents, a brother and a sister.
A whole lineage.
Yeah. Can't imagine it. But in terms of the pain itself, like when, I don't know, do you feel like you get in the zone sometimes and you stop feeling it?
There's a runner's high.
But you're like, I like it.
There's a runner's high. It's
chill.
chill.
Oh my God. It's like, sometimes you see it in the UFC, like when the brother has like blood coming down his face and like, you know, his whole calf swollen up, but he's on fire and you're like, that guy's in the zone, you know, and he's just like, he's become comfortable with the uncomfortable. I felt that when running sometimes, you're just like, I'm so tired right now, but I'm feeling it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And you're willing to keep going.
You're just like, I can keep going like this, yeah. I don't know, it's something like you like go down, I hate this, and you get so bad that you're like, this feels unbelievable.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because that's all you know in that moment
exactly.
as well. You know?
It's like, oh my God, my legs hurt, my feet are bruised, this, that. I love this.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
It's sick as well.
What shoes was you wearing, bro? Please don't say these shoes right now.
No. Okay. Boycott. No, I had the Asics, man. We sponsored by Asics. Not actually.
So you actually had good footwear.
We had Asics where, you know, they had like a sole about that thick. So I was like, yeah, we were set. And I had 2 pairs.
Yeah, just in case.
I switched them out at day 14 and then brought them back
good
later.
Idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice. Tell us what the feeling's like. You got to Sydney.
Yeah.
Opera House.
Bro, the lead up to it was crazy.
Actually, before we even talk about that,
yeah.
I want to talk about the community. You said, obviously, your brother came up at one stage.
Yeah.
Cut him.
Karam, yeah.
We think we
Some of
counted
the other
at the
boys.
end how many boys in total came up. I think it was high 30s, yeah? In the 30s, okay.
MashaAllah.
That visited you what?
That
like
visited
at
you
random
while
points?
I was coming. And
Gotcha.
some were driving. I think Karam and Lo'ay were the last ones to come up. They drove for 9 hours.
Yeah.
Because up to Canberra and across as well, 9 hours. So alhamdulillah, like, and that everyone who came up would bring us things like, you know, refills of food. You know, I need this, I need, you know, whatever. Just cream, medication, whatever. So that was amazing. But one town we went through in New South Wales, Moria, that was probably the craziest experience of the run, besides the end.
Yeah.
They heard about us and they said, we're going to come out and we're going to run with you while you come through our town. They have this massive bridge that goes across this river.
Yeah.
And so we're going to come out and the whole community is going to be there and we're going to run across the bridge with you.
The whole town.
Not the whole town,
What?
like this
Part of-
community in the town. Yeah.
Just imagine
Everyone.
How many people part of this town?
That'd be sick. But they reached out and they said, you know, we'd love to do this. Can we organize it? I said, yeah, that sounds amazing. So we were staying with this family in Maria as well, who were, you know, friends of a friend. And they had us over, hosted us. And then, so on the day, they all came out. We had members from the Aboriginal community as well, and they did like a welcome to country, and they had this, you know, this bark thing with the leaves burning in it and the smoke and, you know, the whole thing. And then the brother was like, Azeez, I want you to hold the smoke. I was like, oh, okay. And it was like something like significant. And he was like, you're going to be the one that holds the smoke. And I was like, oh damn, I'm holding the smoke kind of thing. And so we started doing this walk, and he had, you know, these boomerang things that he was smacking, and he was, you know, singing this song and stuff, and it was beautiful. And I'm like holding the smoke, and I'm like, I've been bestowed with this honor, you know. He called me brother as well, you know, like. And so I'm walking, and like the ferns started to burn, and then the ash started falling on my hands, right? And I'm like, I'm holding the smoke though, like I can't stop, you know, like, and so I'm just holding this, and I'm walking behind him, and the ash is melting through these sleeves that I've got on, and it's sticking to me, and I'm like, I'm the one holding the smoke. I'm the one holding the smoke.
Oh, God.
Finally got to the other side, I'm like, thank you so much, brother, what an honor. So no, but that was a crazy experience. And then we got to the other side, and he spoke about, you know, his experience in the, you know, Aboriginal community out there, and, you know, they did. Another brother came as well, and there was a whole thing, and people spoke, and it was just beautiful to see the town come out and support, not the whole town, but you know, this community come out and support. Alhamdulillah, it was lovely.
Nice.
Yeah. And then close to Sydney, subhanAllah, like I was like, man, I'd love some rain. It's been really hot.
Yeah.
It was like in the 30s and New South Wales humidity and everything, and I was dying for a few days in a row. I'm like, a bit of rain would be really nice. And like the next day, it just like the sky's just empty, like the hardest rain I've ever been in.
Yeah.
And we were running the first half of the day, no rain, and the second half was just like bucketed down on us.
Yeah.
Shoes soaked, everything like I'd been swimming really. Like I had wrinkly fingers, like you know when you jump in a pool, you get the wrinkles. I've never had that from the rain before, but it was like it was full on, man.
Yeah.
And that was for the next 2 days. It just rained on us, and
you were running in the rain?
Yeah.
Nice.
And but it was actually I prefer that to the sun.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
How come?
It's just like less painful.
Yeah.
I know the rain is like it's uncomfortable when you're getting wet, but when you're wet, you don't mind it anymore.
Yeah.
It's like going to the beach. You know when you go to the beach and you put a foot in and you're like, oh, it's cold, this, that. But once you're swimming, you're like,
That is
It's
true.
good.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's fine. You just have
adjust.
to jump in. So the rain's like, when it's raining on you, it's
Correct.
annoying. But once you're already wet, it's fine.
Nice. Yeah.
So then we ran in the rain for 2 days, and Sheikh Ibrahim Dadoun from Sydney, he just called us in the morning. I met him like a couple of years ago, and he's like, hey, I heard you're doing this thing. I just found out about it now. I want to come run with you. Bismillah, ahlan wa sahlan, right? So he came, he met us at the starting point. He did 10Ks with us like a champ.
Yeah.
Then he's like, I have to go do the Jummah khutbah.
Yeah.
What a legend.
So he got in Ali drove him back to his car. He went straight back to Sydney, did his khutbah. Then he came all the way back to Sutherland where we were, on the outskirts of Sydney. It's about a 40-minute drive. Brought us lunch, rice with meat and everything, and our car had broken down that day.
Oh wow!
What are the
That was
chances?
day 29, okay? And so we're like, we actually don't have a car. It's at the shop. We dropped it to a local mechanic. It's like, done. We're going to go to the mechanic, empty your stuff into my car. I'll take you to a hotel, check you in, da-da-da. So he came to the rescue, helped us out, sorted us out completely, alhamdulillah. If you're watching this, thank you very much. Yeah, so he sorted us out, alhamdulillah. And that was the second last day, day 29. So car lasted 29 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Azeez ran 30. No,
You lasted 30.
and then the day after was the finish.
I saw some Sydney brothers joined you as well.
Yeah.
So not just the Sheikh, but then some other brothers that just, I guess they probably don't, did they even know you? Or they just seen the platform?
One of them didn't, but the other boys I knew from Sydney, they joined us at Punch Bowl Mosque. So we wanted to stop at different masajid as well on the way. So
Yeah,
we stopped
nice.
at Punch Bowl, Lakemba. So they joined in. Some of the brothers just did 5K, 7Ks, but one did 25.
25 Ks, yeah.
25 Ks, and he hadn't ran in years. So mashallah, he killed it. So we went to Punch Bowl, then we ran from there to Lakemba Mosque, stopped there for a while, and then we left. I started running, and the boys were still there. Dean, do you want to tell this story? Bismillah, can you jump on the mic for a sec?
Yeah.
Yeah, Bismillah.
Do a trade.
Yeah, man. Oh, the last day was
Happened at Lakemba Mosque.
Lakemba Mosque was pretty crazy. So you left. We were gonna get some balloons from the finish line, and everything. The car broke down, so we were driving my sister's Mini Cooper. We were all stuck in the back. It was terrible. But as we're about to drive out to meet him on the next leg of the journey, we see the Aussie Mammoth at the mosque, and looks like he's in business. And I'm a bit of a nervous guy. And I'm like, okay, maybe we should approach him. Maybe we should, do something. And then I'm like, okay, yalla, let's do it. I approach him, and as I'm about to ask him something, he's like, you guys looking for the ajr? You guys looking for the reward? Yalla, let's carry a body. We got to carry a body. So, and I'm like,
just done a janazah.
Yeah, he was preparing for the janazah.
Yeah, preparing, yeah.
SubhanAllah, you see him on social media, but he's actually at the mosque. He's actually doing everything. And then it didn't work out. I think there was a bit of a delay for the janazah. And then we're like, look, we have a brother. He's running from Melbourne to Sydney. He's just arriving. Would it be possible if you'd be able to share a couple of words? And he said, share a couple of words? Nah. Bring him here. So we get Azeez back, and we come to the mosque, and he's speaking to him, and mashallah, man, he's amazing. Even from many different points of view, as well as the intricate details he knows about social media as well, and being able to share the message. It was really powerful.
Intricate in what sense?
As in, mashallah, he's a big brother.
Yeah,
mashallah, he he's very muscular. And he's got a job to do. And he's with the uncles of the masjid as well. Sorry, uncles of the masjid. I'll skip that. He's with the uncles of the masjid. But he knows about, we've got to post at 7 o'clock because that's when we'll get it right.
Yeah.
Or we'll edit this, or let's take this angle, and it just shows
It's like someone. Is it that someone you wouldn't expect to be very social media savvy? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Keeping up with the times. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. He knows everything, right?
Yeah,
And
not bad.
this was forced upon us this month. We've had to do things we're not comfortable with, and step into different areas. But not just that. He was like, "Look, we have a janazah that we're doing. I want you to hold hold the coffin, and when you take it off, and then run up. Maybe Azeez, you want to share about what that meant to you."
Yeah. So I didn't know the brother that had passed away. But he told us that he was a revert, and he died at 72, mashallah. So he had his sons there, all, very Australian looking, but they were dressed in their, jalabiyas and, taqiyas and everything. I was like, man, this is beautiful. And I'm like, I was just running past, and now I'm a part of this janazah. So it meant a lot that they were like, yeah, come carry our father. And yes, we just, carried it together up the steps into the masjid, and it was like a last minute reminder of urgency in a way. this shouldn't be like a. It's like you're spending your time doing this, the run that we were doing, and don't let that be just like a one and done thing of we did our bit now. It's like, no, you have such a limited amount of time. Fill all of it with goodness, and I feel like that was a reminder for that for sure. It's like this person's brother just passed away, and like how much more up close can you get to the idea of death? You know what I mean? So yeah, I feel like, and it was crazy that the night before I was watching Instagram and I saw him, Ahmed Harachi. I'm like, oh man, he's someone I would have loved to meet in Sydney and Charlotte. If we had organised that would have been really nice. And then we just saw him at the mosque. It just happened to be there. So, alhamdulillah, that was a whole just crazy experience all around.
I can imagine you're going through the motions mentally just inside your head once you do hit the Sydney suburbs and you're like, okay, I'm actually close.
Yeah.
I've done the hard bit. I've done 95%. How was it going through the suburbs, not just with the brothers, but yourself thinking, oh my God, I'm almost there. I've run. This is my 30th day. I've run consistently for 30 days, walk or run, but I kept going. And even just your belief system and being resilient to be able to keep pushing no matter what came to you. How was it mentally for you?
To be honest, it really only hit in like the last 5Ks. The whole days I'm like, man, I feel like this should be something dramatic. You know, like I should feel relief or, you know, emotional or something. But I think just having the boys there with me as well, we were just talking and stuff the whole day. I was like, you know, it's just another day of running, you know?
Yeah.
And then, you know, as we got closer and closer, I'm like, it started to hit. And then the brother next to me was like, oh, what do you do when you run, this, that? And I go, you know, sometimes I just get lost in thought or I'll listen to a podcast and this, that. And he goes, you know what you should do? You should make tasbih when you run, every step. I'm like, subhanAllah, I probably should have been doing that. He said, listen, you have another couple of kilometers left. Make tasbih now when you're running. And he says, what a way to end it off. And I said, yeah, okay. No worries. So I was making tasbih as I was running, and then, you know, we're going through the park and the street and that, and then eventually the opera house comes into view, and I'm like, oh man. I think it started to hit from there. I was like, this is it. It's going to be over.
Finish line in sight.
30 days is now coming to an end. And I had the flag hanging off me, and I had the kafiyah as well, and I'm like, this is it. And we're running. I can see a group of people over there. And then suddenly 3 guards come across our path, like security guards.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh.
Here we go.
And like, I don't even get to stop. And they're like, you can't go any further. You have to stop. I know what you're doing. You can't go any further. You have to take the flag off. And I was like, yeah. I'm just standing there like literally biting my teeth together. Like I was like, had this thing in me. I'm just going to run past them. And I'm like, I want to spoil at the end now, and these guys are going to be running and jumping and this and that. Yeah. And I'm like, so I can't have the flag. And he's like, no, you can't, no political, political symbols or whatever it was. Yeah. I'm like, it's not a political, it's a flag. This is my country that I'm from. This is my heritage. He's like, no, it's a political symbol. You have to take it off or you will be arrested. I'm like, what about this, the kafiyah? This is just as political. I can wear this though. And he's like, yeah, you can. I'm like, that doesn't really make sense.
Yeah,
the brother next to me is saying in Arabic, grab it and run. He keeps repeating that. He goes, grab it and run, grab it and run, grab it and run. And I'm talking to the guy, and I can just keep hearing it. And it was like 2 voices in my head, like, yeah, grab it and run. And I'm like, nah, come on. Like, just, it is what it is. I'm like, okay, no worries. I took it off, I gave it to the brother, and I kept running. Alhamdulillah, in hindsight, I think it was probably
the right thing to do.
Not make a big deal about it. I had the kafiyah, which to me is more meaningful than the flag. The flag is, less than 100 years old, or maybe just about. But, the kafiyah is from back in the day, And alhamdulillah, I ran, saw the finish line, went through the ribbon, and my parents are there. I had no idea they were going to be in Sydney there. I just, ran straight into my dad's arms, and alhamdulillah, it was such a finish, and seeing him there was just, it was crazy,
Perfect ending.
emotional, and amazing.
To share it with everyone close to you.
Absolutely. And the whole time we're putting out messages like, "Oh, we're going to be at the Opera House. Come see us there." But we had no idea if anyone was going to be there. And alhamdulillah, there was a bit of a turnout. So it was beautiful, such a beautiful ending.
Yeah.
Props to the Sydney people.
Have you guys sat down together and just even reflect on what you just did? Because I can imagine you probably go straight back to work or straight back to your homes in Melbourne, but then you guys should understand that you did a huge thing, a huge achievement that many people probably even just thought of and then disregarded because they think, oh, it's not possible, it's going to be too much of a headache. I have work, I have family, I have this and that.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah, we got to spend a few days in Sydney together afterwards. And Ali, on the editing, he made like a final video on the day 30 recap. And it was such an amazing video, so well edited and, with the soundtrack and everything. And every time we watched it, like, we would get emotional. We'd get like tears in our eyes. And it's like, it happened in real life. We've seen this video 4 times already. Why am I tearing up again watching this? So I think, afterwards it was still hitting hard for the next couple of days. Like, oh my God. And then the next morning getting up and not running. I was like, this is weird.
Yeah. What am I meant to do with myself?
So you didn't run back to Melbourne? How'd you get back?
We drove back. We did drive back. Alhamdulillah.
It was Ali's turn.
But, the last 3 days back in Melbourne, I've just been sitting around like, oh my God, it's over. And I'm like, I just finished that, but I'm like, what's next kind of thing? I'm like, I already know that if I sit for too long, I'm going to get back into a routine of just like everyday life. And I'm like, let's carry the momentum, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, alhamdulillah, on the way here, even we're talking about ideas for the next project, and we have a following now, alhamdulillah, who have proven that they're like we raised $50,000. That's not us, that's them, and that's just a community from Instagram and from people that we know. So alhamdulillah, like now that we know that we have this following, we have a bit of a name for ourselves. Like what's next? That's what we're looking to. Yeah,
it's definitely something 2025. Inshallah.
Absolutely. Inshallah.
2024.
2024? Maybe.
Too soon.
Maybe not.
So the plan is to have more ongoing like projects with endurance?
Inshallah. Probably not more runs for sure, but not only that. Should we talk about something?
It's up to you guys.
Is it too early?
We can maybe maybe not talking about ideas.
Okay, that's not so specific.
Yeah, just in generic.
Like the idea about endurance, I think, maybe as Azeez said, if Azeez says something, you'll do it. So I don't want to force him to.
We're trying to force that out of him right now.
We're going to the moon. So I'm going to take the mic from him in that regard. But
PR team.
Yeah, I think endurance. So that's anything with many ideas, and it's not just like Azeez, Ali, or myself. Everyone's got an idea, and alhamdulillah, like the community support has been crazy. Everyone wants to come in. We had a brother Ilyas who said, I can run this, I can do this. Yeah. It's like, maybe you can, swim this distance or that distance. But the litmus test is endurance. Yeah. Any challenge that we have to do, or the point of Gaza Endurance is to be inspired by the endurance of people in Gaza. Not in a tacky way or anything like that. But as Azeez was saying, as you were saying, the pain that you feel, it allows you to feel a certain kind of empathy as well. And in my mind, and the other thing is, sharing that. People feel that pain. Like driving by these truck drivers. Why on earth is Azeez running, from Melbourne to Sydney? Unfortunately, a currency that people see for is something true or something right is the pain that they feel. So the currency of pain that Azeez had to feel is enough for people to think, why don't we do this? Why don't we investigate this? Why does he care so much about Palestine? What's this genocide that's going on? So I think the public awareness is very important for it. So in that sense, whatever we do, inshallah, in the future, would be about building awareness and always linking that back to the people of Gaza who are really enduring, inshallah.
Yeah. What I can tell you is when we're in Sydney, we we had a chance to meet Mufti Menk, and he sort of gave us our next project. He said, inshallah, next you can bike ride to Hajj, which we won't be doing. But
But you've just said it, so.
but he's But Mufti Menk's like, next time you can cycle the Hajj. I was like, that's an interesting idea.
Is he going to join you?
Is he going to join? I should have asked him that.
So, did you track it on Strava? Come on, boys.
Yeah, I should have asked.
Next time, inshallah. Strava's a
It's
running
Strava,
up.
boy.
It's a running up. So in the running community, which I've just joined, I'm talking like I'm a regular. So they say if it's not...
He founded it. Some say Ali invented running.
Yeah, it seems like it. Yeah,
People used to walk.
Yeah, so they say in the running community that if you don't track on Strava, it didn't really happen.
Oh.
But then mine's not tracked on the marathon, so don't worry. I'm in the same boat as you.
How come you didn't turn it on for the marathon?
There was a time in one of the water stations, I paused it.
Oh.
And then I kept running for a good 20 minutes, 30 minutes, checked, and it was paused.
Oh no.
It's too
And
late now.
it would say, if I did post it, it would say 36. And I was like, oh, no, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Halas. Man, that day I was checking your thing every day for updates.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man.
Inshallah.
Bro, your prep leading up to it, your daily shorts and videos and stuff like that. I think Ali was like, look, we just need to see whatever Ali's doing, and we need to make similar videos, like running videos like that.
Really?
But also your prep made me feel like, oh damn, I'm out here winging it.
Well, you still did it, man.
Bro, you were immaculate with your prep, and I remember watching like, I didn't know that's something you did. You were supposed to do for a marathon.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Even like in terms of my videos that I make in the podcast that we do together. So, you, for example, I'll just use an example. You didn't comment on any of these things, but it still impacted you. So sometimes it's hard to see from my end that I'm impacting people because I'm not getting any feedback per se. Even the podcast as well. If you get limited feedback, yet it's still impacting other people, and that's why you just got to keep pushing because you don't know who's watching. Because that means a lot. You just saying that to me, and I had no idea.
Absolutely, man. Like I only got on Instagram about like less than 2 months ago, just before the trip.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
And I'm like, the different people popping up. And then that's how I found out that you were training for the marathon. And I was like, oh, that's so cool, And then obviously I just, started following the videos and stuff. And it definitely inspired us to kind of have a high standard for our media as well. Our videos and stuff. We're like, we should be making proper content as well. Because if we're documenting it well, then people are seeing good shots and good this and that, and then it's all adds to how much they feel like they're a part of it, and then they want to contribute as well. The donations, which is the main sort of thing of the whole cause,
Well,
no,
go ahead.
How much you end up raising?
It's still on at the moment.
Still
I
going,
think we're closing it this weekend or next week.
Allah.
It's like on 52,
Wow.
51 and something. Yeah,
That's
51,000. 51,350. Mashallah. Mashallah. 51,350. Alhamdulillah.
350.
$51,350.
Oh, okay.
Inshallah, in the future project that can
I had
happen.
50, then 350. I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Someone called me and he said, this is because initially we had the goal at 30,000. It was 30K for 30 days or something like that. And then we got to day 20. When did we hit 30? 25. And I called the Human Appeal and I said, look, we hit the goal. Can we extend it to 35, maybe 40? I didn't get a response. And then he called me later today and he said, I just moved it to 50. I was like, oh no, like I don't know if we're going to be able to hit that. What if the community see that? It's a bit, demoralizing if you don't hit your goal. He's like, don't worry, bro. I'm confident you'll get it. And I'm like, okay, well, we'll see. And alhamdulillah, like towards the end, it just and then I think meeting the Aussie Mammoth as well, he has a massive reach and he put a video out for us as well. So alhamdulillah, we hit it. Alhamdulillah. I just had to have tawakkul that,
Yeah. So just to finish, I want to know if you guys have anything for any other people wanting to start something, whether it's endurance or not, just taking initiative. What would you guys say to someone just beginning something or wanting to begin?
Bismillah, just go for it, man. There's too many good ideas that have just sat in people's heads. Wallahi, everyone, if you have an amazing idea, just be brave about it and trust that the community is going to get behind you. one of the most important thing is getting people on board who you can trust and who are going to help you. And alhamdulillah, like these two, that they're the main two of the project. And yeah, like they've been so valuable. Even like the details, like Ali not telling me about people who said don't do it. Like that's something that, for me, it just shows how much of a brother he is. That he's like, I'm not even gonna let him doubt himself here. Where, he's just so confident in me. It means a lot, and yeah, so lucky to have him. And Abdul-Rahman as well is probably one of the busiest guys I know. He's studying, working, involved in this community, that community, and he made time for our project as well. And back home, anything we need. Oh, Dean, can you do that? Can you talk to this? Can you? So, alhamdulillah. Super grateful to have such an amazing team. My parents as well. Sending food. Ali's parents sending food.
That's amazing,
doing shopping last minute for us. Everything was last minute. About this trip. It's sort of my style. But yeah, they came through, and alhamdulillah, and then everyone just wants to help, and they find a way to make it easier for you. A lot of people are just looking for a way to help out, and sometimes you create opportunities for that. You know what I mean? Like, which is why I don't feel bad about asking people to do stuff. Sometimes you think of it as a way, like if you're running an event or something that is a good cause, and you ask people to help, it's for them in a way. You know what I mean? Like, oh, do you want to donate the food for tonight? And it's like you're asking them a favor, but they actually getting a kickback here as well.
Two-way street.
Involve people, and I think people will be surprised how much people want to jump on board for something like Palestine, especially.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, boys, Barakallah feekum. Thank you for coming on. Honestly, what you guys are doing is amazing. I didn't know that what I have done has made an impact on your journey. But honestly, seeing what you guys have done and hearing it now in detail, definitely pushing us to, inshallah, do more things for ourselves and people listening as well. So thank you for coming on, making the time.
Thank you so much for having us. It's been a vibe.
It's good. Inshallah, we'll see what's to come, huh?
Yeah. Inshallah. Stay tuned.
Inshallah. All right. Thank you for watching, guys. We'll see you in the next one.